So we've started the stream now. My name is Tim Ziegler. I'm the editor of Reinvention, International Journal, Undergraduate Research. And first of all, I'd just like to welcome everyone in our live audience here at Monash University in Australia, along with all those streaming online, which includes members at Crescent and Pioneer Halls at Nanjing Technological University, along with Baruch College, CUNY in New York, the University of Washington, and other partners with the University of Western Australia. So, hello to everyone out there. We're going to conduct a skills session on writing for publication as an undergraduate. This should take around 20 minutes, with hopefully 20 minutes toward the end for live questions from here at Monash. Along with that, we've also got our Twitter hashtag ICUR2014. You can contact me on Twitter or by email if you're watching this online, and I'm happy to answer your questions after the event as well. For everyone that's here, I encourage you to use the Twitter hashtag and take part in that conversation, as I'm sure you're doing with that. I think the first question, and it's worth asking, is why bother with undergraduate research? You've got enough to do, you've got a full study load, and a half dozen other things that you're not getting enough credit for in the first place. This is one point of view. The quote here is a discussion of our position as students, as consumers. We're paying for a service, that service is education. One view is that the student's role in the production of learning is de-emphasized, and thus learning itself may be diminished. Students who internalize the student as consumer metaphor tend to act in a passive manner. Conducting undergraduate research is your opportunity to break out of that, to stop being passive and to be an active agent in your own education. You can get engaged not only with your institution, so that's Monash University, and then Technological University, and your own path, but with your field of study, with academics and workers all over the world, to get their attention and show them what you're about. As a result, writing for publication follows logically from doing that independent research as the method by which you can communicate with those workers. These are the four main topics we'll discuss through this session. First of all, we'll have a short discussion about the opportunities you can have for accessing research and finding research topics. Second, we'll discuss the criteria that make a successful article or a successful article submission. Third, I will give you some guidance on what you might expect to have happen during your article submission. And we'll close with a brief introduction of Reinvention itself as an academic peer-reviewed journal and the kind of support and assistance we specifically provide, which, as I discussed, is a little different from what you might expect submitting to a traditional academic journal. First of all, you need a topic. You need something to research. And I hope that most of us in the audience here are a little further along than this, that you're already well engaged with your field of study, you've got something to work on. If you're not, that's even better, because this part is useful for you too. There are plenty of places you can find research topics. I'd say the key activity you need to do is get engaged, to get involved. That might just mean hacking someone. You know, you need to get your face in, get your name in, and get recognised by the people who can help you. You won't do this on your own. An undergraduate research project or university facilitated internship are some of the more obvious places where you might access the research topics that you can take control of your own. Other opportunities might come through industry vacation work or volunteering with external organisations. Exchange studies are another surprising place where you can get control of a project. You can see when you're in exchange, you differentiate yourself from the rest of the student body. It may be easier for you there to network and introduce yourself and become an identity. Extracurricular projects, I guess, another one of the most important places to access research topics. The photo that you can see here is one I took. It's in one of my favourite places today. This is the Rover Paleontology Laboratory in Melbourne Museum, in the bowels of the Royal Exhibition Building here in Melbourne. What we can see in the photo is the curator of the Rover Paleontology, Dr. Gerald. He's up there on the stool violating I don't know how many ICUR regulations. Photographing what is the fossilized skeleton of a 1.5 metre long, 2 ton extinct marsupial animal. That material was recovered at the beginning of this year and is an example of something you can take control of individually. What I can see by volunteering in the department is work that no one else has done yet. Incidentally, standing on the margins of the photo there is another volunteer. That's James Gould, who's in the audience here. He's here in the audience because he's presenting on his own work on fossil fragments from the Australian fossil record. That's material he accessed through his volunteering at Melbourne Museum. So these activities, which might seem like fun, they might seem like general interest, if you can engage and demonstrate you've got an honest intellectual interest in what's going on, you might get access to material or to research ideas that you wouldn't have otherwise through your academic studies. Your academic studies are still useful when it comes to doing research, but coursework has its limitations as providing opportunities for a research article. Some coursework can be reworked into a research article. Examples of this might be an undergraduate project or a final year thesis or dissertation. But there are some key differences. Some of the important ones are such that coursework is generally designed to succeed. It's been produced by a coordinator or a lecturer or a teacher as a topic for questions that will be answered by the end of that discussion. Research doesn't have that guarantee, but equally, if you can produce something, it will be original, it will be unexpected, which a coursework conclusion isn't often. Coursework comes with prescribed resources, reading, opportunities to learn more. Research doesn't, but again, if your opportunity to find something that no one else is thinking about, that makes it more valuable. Doing coursework might have a short-term payoff, but how many of you can remember the conclusions from the essay that you wrote 6 months ago? That isn't important now. On the other hand, doing original research gives you an opportunity to make a long-lasting intellectual contribution to your field. I think the overall conclusion from that should be that, yes, doing original work is challenging, it's difficult, it requires independent initiative, but it is more valuable and more rewarding for you in the long term. This is an example of someone who has done research that I really don't think they would have got doing an undergraduate degree. So what we've got is a summary of the text that was used in a research article published in Reinvention. The size of each word correlates with frequency. So what we see is single words here are describing the main topic. And I want to go through this one because it's a particularly interesting article. So we'll just have a look at it and see what we can see. Standing up in the top right corner. Alright, we're already outside the boundary of most undergraduate studies. But Chris toilets. They're Roman toilets. Okay? I can see archaeological in there as well. So these are ancient Roman toilets. Why are we talking about ancient Roman toilets? Because we've got ideas like public, social, privacy. We're talking about the social characteristics of ancient Roman toilets. This is the title of the article that was produced in that research and published in Reinvention. There's a link at the bottom of the page there on this slide that links directly to that article. You can read it later if you want. The author, Matthew Britton, working at the University of Reading, conducted the research that fueled it in his first year of undergraduate study. He wrote the article during his second year and was published during his first. So I think that's evidence that it's never too early to get started. You start thinking about yourself as an independent researcher, as a peer to the academics rather than just as a student or coordinator. The next question for you is going to be, what do I do to submit an article? I'm going to make the leap here and assume for you that you've written an article now, you've produced an original document, and now you want to do something with it and make it valuable to you. There are different filters that an article submission has to pass through before it's added to the academic system. When you submit to an academic journal, probably the first of these that you'll come across will be the editorial team themselves. Their role will be to screen all submissions to that journal to determine which ones are legitimate research articles and have a reasonable prospect of undergoing successful peer review. Not all articles that pass screening will pass peer review, but as you'll see, there are different criteria and different values each of these filters will assess. For example, the editorial team will be looking at things like the overall structure of your article, whether it's easily readable, whether they can see you've identified the research niche that you're working with. That is to say, that you've proved that no one else has already done what you've done. That's essential if you want to produce original content, to make an original contribution. And that's something that is often discussed at the start of the day in a keynote opening speech. Novel conclusions are an essential part of a successful research article as well. That comes in any discipline, not just in science or literature or journalism or whatever you're interested in. An original and novel contribution is really the key factor for successful editing. Just as important to those are the structural requirements that come, like meeting the journal requirements in the guidelines format, the style, word length. Reinvention, for example, publishes articles between 2,000 and 5,000 words. That's one of the first things we say. It's very prominently displayed on our style guidelines. And I couldn't tell you how many articles we see that are 1,500 words, 10,000 words. And they're brilliant, but they can't be assessed as research articles for publication because their authors haven't done that first bit of work, that tiny little bit of work to see whether this is suitable in the current state of publication. I really urge you all, when submitting an article, to read those formatting guidelines really carefully and to do that little bit of work for someone else to make their life a little easier and to stop your work in front of the trash without an assessment. The second filter, provided that you've passed an editorial screen, is described here. And this one we probably are more familiar with. That theory. What will happen, and in fact that most successful research journals, including Reinvention, is that your article is submitted by a member of the editorial team to a number of leading academics in your specific field of study. They will provide not only recommendation whether to accept or reject that paper to the journal, but also a series of revisions, suggestions and requests, additional readings, and other comments that might improve the quality of that paper and make it suitable publication. So you can see they've got a different set of criteria to what the editorial can do in terms of assessment of articles. To a referee, an article has to add to the existing knowledge in the field. As an expert, they're much better placed to assess that than an editorial can necessarily. They should also be looking at your methodology, whether you explain how you've done the work you've done. If that can't be demonstrated, then it's not clear that your conclusions are valid. Those conclusions should be justified, obviously, by the evidence that results in it. your reference. You need to demonstrate that you're working with the information provided to you in that field of study rather than just making bulk-based assertions. With that comes an overall ethical integrity for an article. That's relevant not only to psychology or medicine papers that have direct statistics, but also papers in a number of other fields where the content in that paper is in some way connected to individuals outside of the work. You need to be treating everyone who's taken part in that paper and contributed to it. Finally, all of these may not be enough if the recommendations that that referee provides are beyond the prospect of you changing your article needed. If there's too much work needed, that is, if a revised article bears little resemblance to the original submission, it may be deemed that the article as submitted is not appropriate. That may come with plenty of recommendations for you on that changes to future directions. But to someone at an undergraduate level, that might seem like the best start for your article. You don't have 3 or 5 years to go back to the start and try again. So that is why following the rules and guidelines that I've suggested here is much more important for you as individuals in undergraduate position than necessarily is for a working academic. You need to get this right from the start. I want to provide you with a brief description of the timeline of a submission. That is from the start from before you submit an article right through to publication. The first box there in the top left is my suggestion that before you submit an article, you revise it. That goes back to what I was talking about with journal style guidelines. You should do that carefully and individually for each journal you submit an article to. Following that, there's an editorial screening. That may be automated within a large journal or may require the individual contribution of an editorial team. As a result, there's some variability in how long that may take. But as you can see, it may be 4 weeks, 5 weeks before you hear anything about your submission. You should expect that and not worry too much if not you having that next day. So great, well done. Anyway, following that is peer review. Now, as you can see, the peer review is generally the longest period in an article submission. That could take a different amount of time depending on the availability of referees, on the number of recommendations that are provided to you. Referees will typically only take a fixed number of articles for peer review every year. One of the main reasons for that, apart from being time consuming, is that this is not a paid activity. Academics perform this as part of their duty within their field of study. So I think that comes with a recognition from the author of the efforts that put into their work. That's kind of gratifying to me, the idea that you've got 2 or 3 of the leading academics in that area of work that you're most interested in, looking at your work, looking at your identity and deciding what can be done with it. Following a review, you'll be provided with concrete revision suggestions. That's something that you should take really seriously and do your best to make those revisions within a reasonable time frame. It may be sort of inviting to get those revisions and think, I don't have to do that for a while. But what's happening at the other end is you have an editorial team and you have potentially referees as well, waiting to hear from you, waiting to see your response to those suggestions. That's because the revisions you make do require approval from the editorial team and, depending on the scope, potentially peer reviewers as well. So I'd emphasise again that you take that step of the process seriously. Following that goes the paperwork, which is nice. We're talking about image copyrights, author's agreements to the publication of your work, which may vary depending on the degree of licensing at that journal. That is to say, whether your article becomes the property of the journal, whether you retain creative commons ownership, whether it's an open access journal. These different kinds of things that will all cause changes in the timing of your submission. After that, you just need to wait. You're able to be published. Easy, right? The conclusion from that is that article publication generally takes between 3 and 12 months. That can be a long time, it can be a short time, but that's typical as well. Articles might be published in a month, or, as is often the case for professional academics, articles might be published 5 years after submission and after a dozen rounds of revision. I hope that was happening for you. I'd like to spend some time now talking about reinvention itself. As a peer-reviewed journal, Reinvention publishes undergraduate student research. This might include final year dissertation work, and it also includes student-staff collaboration, provided the students are the author. It publishes twice a year, in April and October, so I hope you look out for our next issue in October. And we accept submissions from all disciplines, rather than from a specific topic area. Of course, referees are also sourced from those disciplines, so you always have an expert looking at your work. I said the key difference between Reinvention and other journals is the degree of guidance and development we provide to undergraduate authors compared to what you receive at a traditional academic journal. What that means is that at every stage you'll be getting specific feedback from the editorial team and from the peer reviewers that's been catered to your level of experience. An article that is rejected at the screening phase, for example, at Reinvention, will still receive specific feedback from the editorial team based on the criteria that you successfully and not successfully fulfilled in that editorial screening phase. That's something you won't receive at any other journal. And that's something that might be really useful for you if this is your first submission. This is going to make you different for your next submission. Second, the peer review feedback is specifically designed for an undergraduate researcher. So, although we maintain a double-blind anonymity for peer reviewers, that is, you don't know who they are, they don't know who you are, we do tell them that you're an undergraduate student with an expectation you'll be writing at the level of a working academic in probably an early career position. So there will be high expectations of you, but equally there will be an increase in development and guidance advice for you in making successful revision. That also includes additional reading ideas for you, which will be really useful to expand the context of future work. Finally, all successful items will be special and copyright from the journal staff. That's something that's obviously valuable for any students submitting to the journal, increasing the quality of their work. This is an example of some of the articles that are published in our most recent issue, that is April this year. That included heat health connections, internet privacy. We've published articles about second language English teaching and remaining immigrants in the UK. So there's a wide distinction between different language reviews. Additionally, the book review in this issue was a sustainable architecture book. Reinvention has a real interest in sustainability, green step processes, in making things better. Our articles are used in primary literature. Yeah, why is these condoms in HIV epidemic? We can decide it. And I hope you can